Hey guys, how's it going? Scott here from scottsbasslessons.com. Hope everybody is having a killer day. Today I'm going to be talking about one of the most important chord progressions I ever learned, and I really recommend that you learn it as well. This is kind of tying in to the lesson I released last week, so I do recommend you go check that out. Okay, I'll put a lesson to it, a link. We'll put a link somewhere on this page. There'll be like a little screen that you can link to. So if you've seen that, what I want to talk about today is the 2-5-1 chord progression, okay? And we're going to be talking about it in the key of C major. Okay, so first of all, why this chord progression? So the reason why we want to focus on this chord progression is because it's so important. It's used all over the place, at the end of every song almost, you know? Or within tunes, it's all over the place. So what I really recommend, and this ties into the lesson last week, is instead of working on loads and loads of chord sequences, I really think you should focus in on chord sequences that are really commonly used, because then when you come across those chords in songs and things that you're working on, you'll have shedded that stuff and you can instantly think to yourself, oh, that's a 2-5-1. So I know how to play along. I know how to create bass lines on it. I know how to solo over it and things like that, okay? That's why you want to work on common chord sequences. Another great one to work on is the 1-6-2-5-1 as well. That's a really great one. Don't worry if you're listening to this or watching this and you're thinking, what is all this 2-5-1 nonsense about? What are these numbers? It's really, really simple, okay? If you take a major scale, let's take the C major scale. 7 notes in an octave, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do being the octave, and I can't sing it all back down. 7 notes and an octave. Each one of those notes, guys, has a chord attached to it, and that chord always stays the same within the sequence of any key. So, major, minor, minor, major, dominant 7, minor, minor 7 flat 5, and then back to the major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the octave. I'm just going to make sure I'm recording this. And that sequence always stays the same. Okay, so if you take a G major scale and assign a chord to every note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The sequence is the same. Major, minor, minor, major, dominant, minor, minor, 7 flat 5, major. Okay? So, what this means is, we can, if we give a number to the notes of a major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to 1. If we say chord 2, let's think 1, 2. So the second note of the C major scale is a D. That means, and chord 2 is always minor. That means it's a D minor. And then let's find chord 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's the 5th note of the C major scale. And the 5th note, the chord built from that is always a dominant 7. So it's G7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dodgy singing. And then obviously chord 1 is the major, it's chord 1, okay? So if I say a 2-5-1 in the key of C, it's a D minor, a G7, and a C major 7, okay? And then if I say a 2-5-1 in the key of D flat major, again, D flat major, 2, 5, 1, minor, dominant, major, 2-5-1 in the key of E minor, F sharp, minor, B7, dominant, E major. So the chord quality always stays the same. 2 is a minor, 5 is a major, 5 is a dominant, 1 is a major. These are called major 2-5-1s. Okay, so that's just a bit of a background for you of what we're going to be learning today. Okay, so once you've got this down, and I should add to this as well, is working on chord progressions like this is super, super good for your ear as well, your ear. It's great for your ear training, and that is because it's a really obvious sound. And what I'd recommend doing, guys, is when you're listening to music, especially when it comes to the end of a sequence, listen for that 2-5-1 or 5-1. And that you'll hear that a lot as well. 5-1. Listen out for this in music. It happens all the time. What were we doing last week, DMAC? I was talking to, who was it? Talking to you and somebody else about it, where I was ranting on about it. We were playing Taylor Swift. We were playing, who else did we play? Taylor Swift. All these, like Sia, I think we were playing. And my point was that these progressions are in everything. They're in everything you listen to. And that's why you should be working on them in your playing, but also listening out for them as well, because it's a great ear training exercise. And a lot of people come to me and they ask, what's the best ear training exercises? Yes, you can do intervals and things like that. One of the best one, guys, is listening out for common chord sequences that you can recognize. I can remember when I was in school way back when, and I was watching my music teacher, and he was writing down the chords. There was a band playing, performing. I was watching them and I was looking at him, and he was writing the chords down as they were playing it. This blew my mind. I was like, what? How can he do that? And the reason he could do that is he knew what key it was in. He just checked on the piano. Let's say it's in the key of C. Boom. And then he was listening to them, and they were he could recognize, okay, the 2-5-1. Okay, they're going to a chord 4. Oh, then it's going to a chord 6. Yeah. Back to the 2-5-1. Back to the dominant. Okay, then, another 2-5-1. Oh, key change, upper tone. And then he can hear. So if you've seen him do that, it's really amazing. If you can't do that yet, it'll blow your mind when you see somebody do it, but it's actually not that far away. It's not crazy. It's not like perfect pitch. It's not like this weird sort of spider sense that people are born with, like perfect pitch. It's actually something, it's just chord recognition, and it's chord sequence recognition. So that, I just wanted to give you a bit of background on the things that you can get out of learning stuff like this. So now you know why we're learning this, and and why you should be getting into your practice. Let's look at different ways of implementing, working on a 2-5-1. So first of all, let's learn the arpeggios from the 2-5-1. The D minor, and as I said, we're working on everything in the key of C. Okay, so the D minor is just, okay, so it's just a D minor like this. There's different fingerings you can use for that. And then the G7, which is the 5. If you're an Academy member, you'll know that I teach all arpeggios from 3 different fingerings. Check out the arpeggio and scales course in the Academy if you're an Academy member, because that will sort you out. There's a lot of stuff in there for that. And then the C major chord arpeggio. So there I did 3 different fingerings on each of those arpeggios. So you should be when you're working on something like a 2-5-1, okay, learn the arpeggios based on the 2-5-1. I talked in the last lesson that I released onto YouTube. I was telling people, I said, don't focus too wide. Don't try and learn your arpeggios. Try and learn your arpeggios on a particular chord sequence. So this is a great chord sequence for that, okay? Learn them 1 octave, learn them 2 octaves, okay? Oh. Okay, so learn them 2 octave up and down the neck as well, really important. Then when you've done that, then look at creating bass lines over it, okay? So first of all, you could use just roots. 2, 3, 4. roots. Do that around the neck, different areas. Okay, I'm learning it around the neck. Then what? Now let's play root and five, roots and fifths, roots and fifth on each chord. Okay, so roots and fives. Roots and fives. Roots, thirds and fifths. Roots and fives. You can use cool stuff like chromatic approach notes. So on the, like from the G7, you can do like a chromatic note, chromatic run, boom, up to the third, and on the major, on the major chord as well. Now add in the roots, thirds, fifths, and sevenths. I'm using a few chromatic things there, like that kind of thing, and you can, there's different devices you can use. And then once you've done that, then look at soloing over the 2-5-1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just, practicing soloing over the 2-5-1. And my point is, tying back to the video that I was talking about earlier, is that instead of focusing really wide on what you're doing, it really, really will help you if you get really narrow in your focus and work on progressions like this. So taking the 2-5-1, learning the arpeggios, learning the scales and the modes over it, then start creating bass lines over it, adding in the fifths, then the thirds, then the sevenths, and learning it over the entire neck, then soloing over it, chord tones first, and all those shenanigans. It will really help you, because not only is it a really common chord sequence, so you're going to see that chord sequence all the time, but just tying all your practice together like this and making sure that all the elements of what you're practicing are tied together in a really coherent fashion is going to make a big difference when you practice this stuff for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, and then reflect back on what you've been working on. You're going to see really big results really fast. Not like what happens when you focus on way too much stuff and then you reflect back on the progress that you've made and you really struggle to see any because you've just been working on too many things to really make, a big jump on any of them things. You've just got a tiny little bit better on each one, and it really makes, and I've, suffered from this as well. In the past, I've, shedded a whole load of different things, and then a month, 2 months down the line, I look back at the progress I've made, and I really haven't made any progress because I've just been spreading myself too thin. So thanks for checking out this lesson, guys. Again, take progressions like this and just really squeeze everything you can out of them. It'll be a huge benefit to your bass playing. Work on stuff like 2-5-1s, 1-6-2-5-1s, Blues chord sequences are great. You know, the 3-chord blues, the jazz blues, all this kind of stuff will make a huge difference to your playing if you really just get focused on those particular chord sequences and just squeeze every bit of juice out of them you can. Hopefully you've enjoyed this lesson. If you have, make sure you click subscribe somewhere on here. If you're on YouTube, let me know in the comments how, you know, stuff that you're working on a daily basis and recommendations for new lessons. I'm always looking out for stuff like that. And if you haven't been over to scottsbasslessons.com yet and checked out the academy, do so. It is epic. I've got step-by-step courses for you there. We've got live weekly hangouts where guys like Todd Johnson, Ed Friedland, Danny Mo Morris, Rufus Philpott, who else have we got? Zoltan Dekany, Sean Hurley, you know, anybody worth anything is teaching for the academy. So there's a lot of cool stuff over there, and we've got an amazing community as well. So just a massive props and shout out to the academy community as well for being an absolute gem. I absolutely love all of you. So other than that, take it easy, and I'll see you all in the shed. The 2015 Kickstarter challenge.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
Hey everybody.
Hi everybody. Hello all. Hello.